Let's continue building the directory builder. Um, I was busy this week launching SaasRock 1.0 on ProtoCont, which was actually pretty decent. I mean, only around 200 upvotes, but I got like 40 comments as feedback, so that's pretty nice. And most importantly, this is like a milestone for SaasRock, marking it as 1.0. So I can focus on other things like SEO, SaaS templates, or even make a Next.js edition. I'm not sure, because if I do that, I will stop improving the remix editions, or give it a little bit less time. But anyway, I still need to figure that out. But in the meantime, I will continue building this directory builder. As always, I did a pre-improvement on the code because I don't like to record everything. If you don't like this type of things that I do pre-video, let me know. I can even do transmissions, or how is it called? Live streams. But I haven't done that. I'm not sure how that works. But it's pretty simple, the code that I changed. The first thing is that I grabbed the categories inside a component, and then upgraded to SaasRock 1.0, which comes with chat-cn components. Like you can see on the directory filters, I'm using now the toggle component like this, instead of a custom button. So this is like the default chat-cn one. At the directory home also, I'm using the input from chat-cn for this search bar. And on the listings, I put the filters model inside, so the directory route or home is cleaner. So you have like the directory home, which may be switched to hero, because the directory home could mean like a header at the top, hero or nothing, and yeah, the title, description, and a search bar. And then we have like the body of the directory, which is for this layout is categories at the left, listings at the middle, and if the filters layout is sidebar, it puts the directory filters at the side. So right now the default is the filters are by model, which are no longer a model. It's no longer a model. It's like a slide over white panel. I think this looks better. I'm not sure yet. But as you can see, I'm also using chat-cn components here. And these are my custom radio cards, checkbox cards, and these are the radio cards. And yeah, this is the secondary button, the primary button. So yeah, today's video will be about submitting as an anonymous user. I'm not going to focus on authentication right now for users within a directory. I'm just going to focus on this video on submitting a listing. So that means the listing should now contain a status. I'm gonna commit these changes, and I'm gonna start with going in my admin entities, and let's log in. You can see that now that chat-cn is here, you can switch the theme, and now the primary buttons will switch to that theme. I'm gonna put it to a slate, which is the default now. And on the listings, we should now have a default property called published. Yeah, published is okay. And this will be, or maybe a date, like if it's given a date, it's published, otherwise it's not. No, maybe a boolean is fine. And yeah, let's create it. And that won't be available for when you submit it. Of course, that will be hidden, and it will be internally modified. So if we create as a tenant another listing, we will now have that published property. Oops, there's seems to be an issue with some component here. I'm not sure which one is causing this overflow. I will check by the end of the video. Let's remove the unpublished first from the loader. So here we find the directory, and then we get all the listings. No, where do we get it? Well, we get all the listings by retrieving the directory, which retrieves all the children. So on the row DTO, we can filter out the listings. Well, first we need to fill this published, get boolean published, and on the listings DTOs, we also need that new property published, and this could be undefined because we have undefined values, and we will remove this exclamation mark because it can be undefined. And at the end of this mapping, we're gonna filter where is published. So this will cause that by default we won't have any now. So as a tenant or as an account, we now need to go to each one of these and update the status. Or yeah, maybe status would have been better because maybe the status could be featured, or that's another property. Let me think, because it could be unpublished, published, featured, or promoted. What is better? No, I think the featured should be another property, and even that could be like an object. Like it's featured in this order. Yeah, I think published should be a standalone property. So let's update it to is published, and let's see how it looks. We should now have SaasRock as the only published listing. So let's go to the spelled one and publish it, and similarly to the view one. Now we should have all. Oops, I'm selecting remix, so let's remove that. Okay, so and maybe there should be also an order of the listings. I'm not sure if that should be another property, or yeah, it definitely should be an order property of type number, so the tenant can decide which one to appear at the top. And these should be also added to the listings DTO here, order, and it can also be undefined because we have undefined values. So we're gonna go to the listing DTO and put it order, number, or undefined. And after filtering the listings, we need to sort. Dot sort AB, if order contains a value, order B by A minus B. And let's try putting SaasRock as number one, of course. Where's the order here? Order. And let's refresh. It seems that it's putting the undefined first, so we need to check. I'm gonna get the help of Copilot. Sort by order, prioritize items with defined order, and then let's see if this works. Yeah, it works, of course. I don't know how I coded before Copilot or ChatGPT. And what else? What else can we do? Let's reorder. Let's put view after svelte. So let's reopen these items and go to the svelte one and put it as as order number 2, and then view as order 3. Okay, it's working. Now we can move on to creating a new route, and here we need a route to say submit. There are tons of directory list websites. One of them is Product Hunt, and that list directory is based on launch by day. But not every directory is launched by day. We can improve that in a future video. For now, I'm just gonna focus on directories like this one, once.tools. It contains like, well, it says here, your guide to software, you only have to pay for once. So we're gonna see how this works. So we're putting a name, which is like an anonymous user. And then I'm gonna put my email, and then the name of the tool, I'm gonna list indexer.so or indexer, and the URL is indexer.so. Tagline, I'm gonna copy from the hero section, and then the description, I'm gonna put the same that I put here. Actually, I already put that product on this other directory called unit.best, which I actually launched SaasRock after Product Hunt. But I'm gonna focus on this one, indexer, and I'm gonna copy this rich description, and I'm gonna put it here to see, well, and the price, it's asking for the price. So let's see what's the minimum price at pricing, and it's $9 once for 5 sites and 5,000 credits per month. So let's put that 9 for 5 sites plus 5 credits per month. And then the video, we can put the one that I did with building a SaaS, Google Page Indexer, and we're gonna put the last video. Although this is a coding video, but doesn't matter. So let's see what happens when I submit. Yeah, thank you for submitting Indexer. We'll review the details as soon as we can add it to the directory if it fits our criteria. So this is a directory that doesn't require authentication. So if my directory is approved, I will then have an email, I guess, that my listing was approved. So let's do the same thing. We need a route inside the directory's log. Well, not inside, but besides. So let's create that route. D is the prefix that I'm using right now. Of course, it will not be once it ends. Directory and then submit. Or let's see how is this slug. Yeah, submit here, and here is add your product is submit a tool. I think submit is fine. Now, let's build this from scratch. But our listings are dynamic. They have dynamic properties, so we can reuse however the auto-generated new route for the entity is. So maybe we can copy paste. Let's try. Let's go to entity. Here is actually using like a meta that comes from the loader, and this is a namespace, rows new, and this is the loader to get the entity details, and the action, which is to create, and that's it, only one action. And let's see what else, and the route is this one, rows new route. So I want to see what happens if I just copy paste And this browse news namespace, I think it's using the params to get the entity name. Let's see, params entity. Yeah, here and here, but let's see where it tries to retrieve the entity. It's using this. It gets from the loader the entity with the slug. Yeah, params entity. So maybe instead of having it hard coded like this, we can pass like a prop or construct it ourselves, because this will be only for the listings entity. I'm not sure what to do. Let's think. I think we need to do it like custom code or low code. Like instead of having this calling to this endpoint, I mean namespace, we need to construct it manually. And I want to show you how. So we need to retrieve something from this. And actually I don't like that here it's action function, and here on the loader is loader function args. So let's fix that. Action function args. So we need to know the current directory. So I'm gonna put directory, and it's a directory DTO. And I'm gonna do the same. Well, how did I handle? Did I handle the if it doesn't exist? Yeah, I think we need something similar to this. Instead of item, I'm gonna call it directory, and either that or an error. And I'm gonna check here, export default function, and I'm gonna return a div. But before, I'm gonna get data from use type loader data of that type, and if error in data, I'm gonna return page 404 because the directory doesn't exist. And then here I'm gonna put my rows new form. So let's see what the rows new route renders. It's actually a new page layout, which it just centers the component, and then it puts this row form. But we don't need this check plan feature limit because anonymous users can submit new ones. So we can use this row form, or we can do it with, let's see if we can use something simpler, like I think it's called row properties, and we need to pass the entity. So for that we need the listing entity from the data, so we need to retrieve that as well. Listing entity, and actually all the entities should be well, what we need to construct the listing entity based on the current tenant, because it could contain properties customized for that tenant. So we need to grab it from the server. Listings entity, entity with details, and here we need that listing similar to the other route, listing entity using the current. Actually, I need all of this. I need to get the directory and the listing entity, and we can then improve it. So this is an async function, so we can call this async as function methods. And here we need the params from the args, and I don't think we need the request. So let's fix this import. Getting all entities, I just use this to store in a singleton the entity. So if I want to use, like, if I don't want to call again all the entities inside any of the functions below, I just like fill these entities. Let me show you. It retrieves them from the database, and then it calls this entity singleton get instance, and then sets the entities. I know it's ugly, but there could be a better way. And let's see. So we need to add the missing properties. The item, it's actually a null item. So let's see how it renders this. Let's save this and let's go to that route. I think this is because it's still compiling. So let's restart the server, because sometimes when you are running the application and create files, you need to restart. I don't know what happened, why that is, but let's see if it's fixed. Didn't return anything from the loader. I need to return. So it actually worked before, but we need to return this item. Well, but as I said on previous videos, I like to construct my loader data. So I get TypeScript check. So let's try again. Okay, so here we have all the properties that are required for my listing. And actually we need to hide this published one. So first, what we're going to do is, and actually I'm thinking for all the directory routes, we need like a header, like to navigate between the home directory, and then if you're logged in, clicking your profile and updating things inside the directory, or navigate to other directories if you subscribe to other, because it will be inside the same database, like multiple directories. And of course the categories and for the current directory, and maybe something else like the main promoted one. So you can click right from the header. But yeah, I think I will do that after doing this. I'm gonna use the new layout route just to see if this is enough. Or yeah, I even can, yeah, here it needs a title, but I'm gonna put it, well, we can put submit a tool. Let's see, submit your product. I think it's better. Submit your product. Well, but it's not actually a product, and it's not actually a tool, because you can be building directories for wedding photographers. Submit something. I'm not sure. Submit your something. Maybe that should be like a directory property called what is the type of listing. But at the same time, what if you want to, like for example, for a wedding directory, you may want photographers and locations. So you cannot actually say submit a photographer or a location. It's submit something for this listing. I don't know if that should be like select a category first, and then the category has like the main title of the tool. But I'm gonna do that off video. That's why I like to do improvements off video, because there's so many things you can improve, and I tend to over engineer things and never launch. So I don't want to go there. I want to keep it simple. So where were we? We need to create this route and make sure that it works. So we have this title, submit. Of course, we can use a little bit of padding, but I would think that will be fixed when the header is at the top. And now we can set the title, description, slug, URL. We need to hide this published one. And let's see, star rating, order are also things that should be hidden. And I'm not sure if I could use like a default like this. Let's see. Hidden. Let's hide published and order. And let's refresh. But now I think we have the problem that as a tenant, when you're updating, you don't have that property. So hidden is not the answer. Maybe it's showing create. So instead of hidden, we're gonna uncheck this showing create form and save this and do the same thing for order and try again. So it's title, description, slug, URL, published is still here. Showing create. Okay, so maybe this row properties component is not rendering like the correct ones. We need to add another if to the filter that if item is null, filter f show in create. So let's see if Copilot helps me, but I think it's closing here. No. And item is null or showing create. No, I think it's only for when item is not null or showing create. Let's see. Still not working. Let's see if I updated the properties correctly. Published is show in create form false. Okay, but here it's setting the values. I need to add this as well. No, it's right. So it's adding these values property. So I did it incorrectly. If it's not default, if it's not hidden, if it's not setting like custom properties and the item is null or showing create. Now I think I have some problems in my logic here. For now, well, okay, Copilot seemed to understand what I wanted to do. Let's see if it works. Okay, now it works, but we need to make sure like that as a tenant, we can still update those properties. Yeah, published and order. So let's see if this works, because there may be a validation on the creation of the row if published and order are required. So maybe we need to update those properties to be not required. But first, we need to delete this. Let's add another called netcore-saas, which is a .NET plus Vue, React, or spelled Saas boilerplate. And the slug will be netcore-saas if available, but that could be overridden by the tenant administrator. And the URL is this one, netcore-saas, star rating. Well, star rating is also hidden property, but that is actually a tenant one. So the tenant should define that when creating those custom properties. And there could be templates for listings. Like instead of having the tenant to fill all this data, there could be like fill, what type of directory are you building? Is it a wedding template? And you could have like photographers, properties, and are you building a Saas boilerplates directory? And then there could field something like this: price range, release date, type, front and back end. But for now, I need to do it manually. So star rating should not be on create. And this is actually a pretty advanced way of looking at properties. So maybe this should be for tenants, like a simpler one. But for now, instead of refreshing, because I will lose this data, I will put it like 5. Price range goes from 19 to 49. And release date, I don't remember when, but let's put it on the 1st of the year of the pandemic. It's front end and back end. And let's put the image, and we're gonna actually take a screenshot and put it here. Is open source? No. Features, .NET, React. Well, the features are not actually the technologies. Features are like clean architecture, unit and integration tests. But let's just add those two. Complexity is actually complex. But we need the form. We need to grab this row properties inside the form with a button to submit it, the actual thing. So we need that. And we need, and actually for testing, I don't want to repeat this. So instead of doing this, I'm gonna create another directory as another tenant. And I'm gonna use an existing one. And I'm gonna go to settings and set the listings default properties to nothing. Yeah, and we can use this directory. What's this log? Yeah, -200. So similar to this one, but with a -200. So whenever we want to submit, it only requires the title, description, and slug. So we can test here. It's easier. And for this form, we need a hidden input of type action. I mean, of name action. And I'm gonna put it here read only and hidden, because sometimes it renders a React hydration bug or something on the browser logs. So we need also a button primary button primary, and here it's submit. And let's actually build the action, and let's see how it's done on the rows new namespace. So on the action, we're calling the row values, get row properties from form. So we need that form await from the request, await get form, no, request get form, because form data. And then we get the action, and this is async. We get the action from the form, and we check if the action is create. We say get the row values from this entity, and we need this translation object, await get translations using the request. And we also need the current entity, and the entity, we have it here. So we need also the tenant ID, and the tenant ID is actually on the directory, so we need to retrieve that as well. But we can pass. I'm not sure if I should do it this way, but yeah, I think so. I think this is required. So we need to retrieve the directory from the params slug, and then the listings entity, and we can use that entity to get the dynamic properties. And these row values are used on this rows API create method. So we need that const new row, and we need that entity. This is like this listings entity. It can be null, I guess. No. What's the problem on create? On create, we need an entity. Okay, so this worked. And the tenant ID is from the directory. which is the row tenant ID, and then the user ID, we can grab it actually before from this object user info await, which is from the cookie, get user info from the request. The user info contains values like user ID, the light or dark mode, the language, and other things like the theme. And now we can see, like, well, we need to grab all of these inside a try catch because some of these can fail. So I'm gonna put it in the action try, and if there's an error, I'm gonna return the error message. This can be any, and if it's an invalid action, I'm gonna retrieve a 400 status. What else? We now have the row created, supposedly, and if it exists, we need to return. Actually, we're gonna retrieve that new row created. So we're gonna get that on an action data, use typed action data from this type action data, and I need to create that type action data. I'm gonna go at the top of the action declaration and type action data. Row can be row with details, can be undefined because there can be an error. So we're gonna listen to this action data on a use effect. Whenever the action data retrieves an error, action data error, we're gonna toast it. And we can decide whether to toast with React Toast or Sonar. I don't know if that's pronounced correctly, but I'm gonna use the Sonar one and put the error. And if the action data actually retrieved a new row, we're gonna put the same text that I got from here. Well, I don't remember what was the message, so we need to think of a new one. Success, row created. No, your listing has been submitted. Thank you. We will review it and publish it soon if it fits our criteria. If it fits our criteria. Yeah, so I think we need actually like another property below, before all the dynamic properties, which is like an input text for the email or the name of the person. So this could be inside a flex space x2, and then we can have an input for the name of the user with title name, but about you. Yeah, because there are two types of names, the tool name and the my name. So this can be your name, and I'm gonna put this user name, and I'm gonna put the default value to empty. But actually, we can put it like we can listen to the root data and use that, because this root data contains the user if it's logged in. Use root data, and the default value will be, if the user is logged in, we're gonna put the first name, but we also need the last name. So I think there's a user utils function for that. Get full name, profile name. Let's see, first name and last name. Otherwise, the email. No, I think we need another one at the bottom, and we're gonna call it full name. Otherwise, we're gonna return empty, not the email, because we have another property for that. And then if first name and last name, else we're gonna return the first name. And this can be undefined, I think. And user, let's see, user simple, I think it is. But actually this is pretty complex, so let's grab from whatever the root data returns. User, what is this? User without password. User without password. Okay, so we can use this function here. User utils full name from the root data dot user. Oops, my Mac is starting to get slow, and this could actually be null. So we can check before or implement on the function that it can be null. And if it's null, return empty. And I guess that's like the simplest option. So if user, yeah, like this. And we need another one for the email. And this is type email. And actually there's an input variation for that I created called input email. So your email, user email, and the default value is from the user dot email, if it exists, of course. And what are we going to do with that email? Well, we're gonna send us, or the directory owner, an email. So let's do that. Await send email to, we need to retrieve the directory owner, which is, I think, on this row. Let's see, created by user email, but this can actually be undefined. So we are gonna grab to email either that or me. Process env, let's see, we have on my env vars, let's see, the email, support email. We can put like a default email here, but I'm gonna hard code my email here. And then I'm gonna use this one, and what's next? Alias. Okay, so it seems like if it's using an alias, it will try to send with template. I think there's another function that sends email without postmark alias. So I'm gonna try doing that. Let's see, send email. Am I using this one? Send broadcast. Yeah, but the message stream, I don't need that. So I think I need to use send broadcast, although I need to create another one that doesn't require a sender. So sender can be undefined, and if it's undefined, well, but we need the API key. Yeah, I think I need to do that first. So instead of an email, I'm gonna do a notification service send. There's actually a function somewhere to send emails, but I can remember where. I think maybe this one, email servers send, and then provider, let's see, postmark. And what do we need for the data? We need from, let's see what's in my postmark. I don't have anything. So if I want to send emails, I need to set this first. So I'm gonna go ahead and create it because I need it to test it. Or I can just create a notification, but I think it's better if I need two-factor authentication and I'm using my phone to record. So instead, well, but you can see there's this function that you can use to send from postmark or to resend. Well, actually I can try with resend, but I don't have the resend API key, I think. Let's see, we need from to subject and body. From to email, subject, new listing submitted, and body. A new listing has submitted by full name, please review it. We can actually put the whole row details, but right now I'm just gonna put the config and then the API key. I'm gonna use my resend API key. User info, no, we need the full name from the action. And this is actually required. So before doing that, I'm gonna make sure that this input is required. And this full name needs to be retrieved here from the form username. And actually, user email also. And this can be changed to user full name. And we can actually use here, we can now use user full name. And we can put the email, user email here. And await in the config. And now I need to make sure that on my recent account, let's see if I don't need to do two-factor authentication. I think I didn't use this email for resend, but let's see if I can create like a quick API. Create API key. I'm gonna call it directory all domains. I'm gonna copy this and put it on resend API key and restart the server and use that recent API key. Make sure it's the same. And from, let's see, from, how can I use, let's see the API, create, no, but we need to send. So for emails, let's see if they have a quick API. From onboarding recent.dev. Okay, I can use this, I think. Well, I'm not sure, but let's try. All API keys, directory onboarding to delivered. It works. Oh, let's try. Actually, it was on the second directory, which is this one. And instead of admin email, I'm gonna switch it to my email. And we need some spacing between every row property. So here we need this to be, well, maybe we can grab inside a div all the properties before the button with a spacing of space y 1. I think that's okay. And the submit button, I like it to be at the right, but I think this looks good as well. So I'm gonna put it inside, inside a div with a class name of padding of 2 and border top and border color of border, which comes from ChatCN theme. Let's see if it looks good. Okay, we need padding before, after the properties. A little bit more. So more space. And actually this border seems redundant. It's this separator, but let's try. Title, my tool one, whatever. Let's see. This should be of type submit. So try again. Just one. Published. Okay, published is required. This is an error. Yeah, we mentioned that we needed to change these two properties to not required. Not required, but on the other, no, yeah, for every listing, not required. Not required. And let's try again. Title 111. Request doesn't contain a valid server token. Okay, that's for sending the email. So as a tenant, let's go to that tenant on these listings. I now have that submission, which is not published, but I didn't get the email. And I don't remember the request doesn't contain that, what? That API key? Acme Corp. Oh, it's provider recent. Okay, so try again. Admin user, and I'm gonna use the same info, which is title 1, description 1, slug 1, and the slug may be checked for existing listings. So it's, or maybe this should be the suggested slug from the submitter, but the actual tenant can modify it. Okay, your listing has been submitted. We will review it as. Okay, it works. And I think that's it for this video, because 1, my Mac is starting to get too hot. 2, I need to go to eat with my wife. And 3, I need to think what's the next big thing for this directory. One thing that I'm thinking of doing is adding this layout, like categories here and all the listings filling all the remaining space, and that's it, like the simplest directory there. And the other one is like kind of like a product hunt launcher, which is trending right now. And I know you shouldn't be trying to go after each trend that there is, but I want to show you how you can build things as quick as possible with SaasRock, getting all the infrastructure ready for your SaaS. And of course, I'm taking some time to do it manually because it's not actually a full no-code builder. It's a SaaS building framework. But I want to show you the best practices, or at least my way of building things, because I have so many SaaS ideas that I want to implement. And off video, I'm super fast. And when I'm recording, I need to explain myself, and I sometimes don't want to go to dangerous or risk routes. But this YouTube video series that I'm trying to do will evolve over time. So if you're enjoying this type of stuff, let me know, or if you want me to build instead of record myself, that's valid as well. Or if you want me to live stream, that's another option that I could explore. But I was going to say that maybe off video I will support like layouts for product hunt type directories, super basic type layouts, and the one that I'm doing, which is well, we didn't check the email, so let's do that before ending the video. I'm not getting anything, maybe on my spam folder. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. I think, let's see. Oh, it's sent to the admin that email because it's checking which is the creator of that directory, and so we can make sure on my emails on recent that it was sent. It wasn't sent. Broadcast. What happened? To email. I'm gonna hard code this, and actually, before actually creating the row, on every action, just to test this, I'm gonna put it at the top of the action, and I'm gonna remove all the required values. Well, no, like that. I just want to make sure that the email sending is working before ending the video, because I'm sending from this onboarding at recent.dev, and it should work, right? There's no senders somewhere. Overview. Let's see if there's like docs. Where's note or next? It's okay. From onboarding recent, yeah, that seems to be like the default for sending. So I'm gonna try again. It's sending. Okay, now it's working, and we got the other email. Okay, well, no, it's not the other email, it's the email below. So it's working. Where was I? I was saying that the other layout is this one. So product hunt type listings. I may do it off screen. Please comment if you want me to do it, or on video. Simplest listings like this one that don't require user authentication, just submitting a tool and manually reviewing it. And this type of customizable layouts, because this is one layout, but the other layout that I wanted to implement is this one, like Airbnb, where you have categories, filter asset at the top, or filters, and then like a grid. So I think now that I have ShotCN, there's a component that I can't remember which one was, that I can use for layouts, like complex layouts. Let's see, it was kind of, no, not context. Let's see, like a drawer? No. It's one that you can use to open and then move things like the slider, or let's see, hover? No. Menu bar? Nope. Navigation menu? Nope. Pop over, maybe it's pop over. Yeah, this one. So we can use this one for layouts. Instead of having like a directory layout, filters layout, card layout, we can have all the different things on a single property and create that custom property typed. And it will be a default directory entity property, like here. Like instead of having filters layout, listings layout, we can implement, or I can implement, a new property type called object or JSON. And that object receives a schema, and the schema could be filters, cards, hero, or home. And then those nested objects could contain like options, like if it's the hero or it's a home, there could be hero or nothing or background image. So you get the point. So let me know if you're liking this series. Otherwise, if you'd like me to build this directory and release it and focus on something else, also let me know. Thank you for watching.